Hello and welcome to Custodial Cast. Today we're going to be talking about censorship. You guys want to start us off?
I would like to start us off. So, what do you guys think is the number one secured thing that should be censorship no matter what?
Um, well, to little kids specifically, uh,
Yeah, like kids shows probably
yeah, I
are
guess,
like where censorship should take place.
yeah, that's where it should take place. But I mean, for what? I mean, I guess gore and excessive language. I guess kids
Yeah.
should be sheltered
Yeah,
somewhat for the beginning of their lives because they have to develop their brains first before they get traumatized. So like I'd say around like once they reach double digits, then you could start exposing them to like the real world. But like they have to kind of grow before they get shoved into the real world. And then they'll get like mentally
I
scarred probably.
I think that even then, double digits, they can still get more
Mhm.
bit of a language, get more of a sense,
Mhm.
but they shouldn't, hear words like the F bomb or the N word.
Well, yeah, but I'm also thinking more extreme as well. Like for example, you guys know like the super messed up movie called Saw?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I hate. So I got exposed to that movie as a kid because I went to someone's house and one of like their older brothers were watching it or something, and I saw it and I was scarred and I still think about that scene today. I'm not gonna explain what the scene was, but like holy shit, that scene, I don't know. And I just feel like exposing like those type of stuff to little kids, even if it is fake in a movie, it's still so much. It's way too much to handle.
But But you just said it's too much to handle because you saw it as a kid, yet you think kids should see it.
No, I think kids should
No,
not see
no.
it. I think
Oh,
no, no,
oh,
no,
okay,
no.
okay.
Yeah. Dude, if I saw that below the age of 8, I don't think like I think I'd mentally just not be stable right now. I don't know. I was 12 at the time, I think, somewhere around there. And I still think about I don't know. I don't like those
Well,
movies.
that's why that's a rated R movie,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
That's
But
why
then, what do
there's
you guys?
ratings on movies and TV shows.
Yeah, I feel like people should really take the ratings like a little bit more seriously sometimes
Mhm.
because it's the rating for a reason in movies.
Yeah, that's the sole reason it exists. Like, I don't even remember what the first R-rated movie I saw was, but I think the one more reason was because it was too gory and there was a lot of swear words.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
I
but no, I'm
sorry,
sorry.
go
You
ahead.
you go first. No, go first. I'm jumping ahead.
Well, like I remember a few years ago me and my friend wanted to go see It 2 together.
Mhm.
Um And it's not a super scary horror movie based on a lot of the things I've heard about it. It's more funny than it is scary. A lot of it
Yeah.
is what I've heard. And you're not allowed
Depends
to
how
go
you look
see it
at it.
unless someone over the age of 18 is there with you. But
It's
like
17, but okay.
like that's kind of where like I kind of draw a line because first of all, based off of all the reviews and stuff about the movie, it should not have been rated R.
Mhm.
Um, Like I get it's scary, but there's scary movies that aren't rated R. And just because I'm like 1 year under the age of or 1 or 2 years away from being 17, I can't go see a rated R movie by myself. Like it's kind of dumb, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But I
Like if you're
Yeah,
over
yeah, sorry, what?
I mean, what you were
Cause if
saying
you're over
about it,
13 and you've come past that PG-13 level of TV, you should be able to go start seeing like, you know, some rated R movies. It's up to you really
Mhm.
and your
I
parents.
feel
If
like
your
you're just
parents
trying
allow
to
you to
play
go in.
for that. Like even if
What?
it's not that scary, it's like it too, as you were talking about. It too, it does have some jump scares, you know. It is classified as a scary movie for a reason, and they're trying to play it safe. That's probably why they're rating
Okay,
it
and
R.
Five Nights at Freddy's has a lot of jump scares, and yet I've seen kids younger than like
Yep.
8 playing the game. So
Yeah, but I'd say that's well, I don't know if that's necessarily different. But what I'm trying to say is I think the reason why they do add like I don't think parents would allow them to play Five Nights at Freddy's either, but the fact that they can like play it on other friends, tablets and stuff. It's a lot easier to actually like sneak into a video game than to sneak into a movie, I'd say.
Yeah, that's
But
probably the bigger
but like also I think the reason why they have the 18 limit is because everyone kind of matures at a different pace. Like someone could get used to
Mhm.
all the horrible censorship for little kids really really quick, and then some other people like take a long time to get used to it. So I think 18 is just like a safe age to say, okay, well, I think you're probably ready.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because that's because 18 is usually where the age of consent happens, and when you could vote and start smoking legally, of course.
Mm.
But yeah, I'd say 18 would be the most reasonable age. You could argue 16 as well, because that's the ability of when you could drive and you take up a lot of
Right, yeah,
responsibility.
you
And
can drive a car, you can drive a 2-ton killing machine, but you can't freaking go see It 2 or I don't know, the new
Yeah.
Halloween movie.
Yeah,
So
whatever.
dumb.
I mean, in Europe, it's like uh, in most places in Europe, I mean, like the legal age is 16, right? For most stuff.
Mm.
But surprisingly, you see like less crime, less violence, etc.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much. It's a lot
now, wait,
different in America.
I think.
now I have a question for you guys now. Or no, Joe, you say
Oh no,
something
no, no.
before I
You can
jump
say it.
on
I
it
was just
again.
gonna like generalize what we were talking about, but you can to go.
All right, I'm gonna say in you know you know pop media or pop culture media that is more for adults. What should be censored?
Oh, so you mean like
If
So
it's for
stuff not even
adults,
adults should not even adults should hear.
okay. So obviously, stuff like um people live streaming like doing illegal things. Like I've seen like all these videos on stuff that happened on the dark web, and they talk about how they've seen like live murders happen and stuff like that. Obviously, stuff like that should be censored, and no one should be able to get to that stuff. And the fact that people still can find ways to get to that stuff is really scary. But other than that, if they think they can handle it, they should be able to go watch just about whatever they want.
Right. I mean, like, the real issue here is we can all admit it is like the ratings they're just not enforced enough. Like, I feel like adults should be able to like pretty much look at anything, right? But obviously that's not enforced because we have kids like playing video games when they're rated like M17. You know what I mean? It's like it
Yeah.
all the content in the game is perfectly fit for adults, but there's a reason why it's not allowed for kids. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen kids like under double digit age playing Call of Duty, and I wasn't allowed to get my first Call of Duty game until I turned 15.
Yeah.
Like,
Same.
you know, there's a lot of disparity between how these ratings work, and no one enforces it anymore.
Hmm. Like nowadays, like
But
for example, gun games wise, like you got like games like Fortnite that look like they could be for like 10-year-olds. Like that. That's what it like kind
Not
of makes
even.
itself
They
out.
could be younger as
Yeah,
well.
it's what it makes itself out to be. But in reality, it's just a gun game where like you're the last one who has to survive, and you gotta just shoot everyone down. And I guess
I feel like for
yeah.
for video games, it's a bit different than like movies or stuff like live streams.
Mm.
Because video games, let's say the category is violence and shooting.
Mhm.
You could say the same thing for Fortnite and some sort of graphic shooting
Yeah.
game, Because Fortnite, there's no
Yeah,
blood,
yeah.
there's no bullet holes in the dude or something. Like and then they just magically disappear.
Mhm.
As in like some gets like Call of Duty or something, a little bit more graphic, where you see blood and you see a dead dude on the ground
Mhm.
after that.
Yeah.
Like it's really different for that because they both fall in the same category
Mhm.
of just shooting and violence. But you can clearly tell that Fortnite would be you could even play that when you're like 6 years old and won't be as like graphic as Call of Duty, you can say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure
I mean, even a
Fortnite
kid who's like
is
6 shouldn't be playing Fortnite. The idea of a kid playing a video game and
I
learning,
feel like no
because
one should be
if they're
playing
at that
Fortnite.
age learning it's okay to shoot people and like
right.
that they'll respawn, like that's not a good thing to be teaching a 6-year-old at that point. So there is a point to where little kids shouldn't be playing certain games and watching
Yeah,
certain
I feel like
movies.
that's
I
also
agree.
part of the parents to restrict it as well.
Yeah,
Of course.
definitely.
I
Like
mean,
what games are they playing?
Wait.
on YouTube.
Yeah, Alan Wilbers.
Sometimes, sorry for interrupting. So I mean, like sometimes you just have parents who like like they just don't they somehow just don't have time for their kids, and they just try and get like platforms like YouTube and video games to babysit them. And then they
Hmm.
kind of like get all angry when like a platform meant for entertainment ends up like scarring their children for life. I feel like that's also a problem.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
like as a parent, you're responsible to like obviously supervise and take care of your kid. And if you're using a video game or a different platform for that, like it's kind of
You
on
can't
you.
control it
Yeah,
necessarily.
it's like if you're not looking out for your kid, then your kid's gonna see whatever.
Yeah, I believe that it's totally fine to let like pacify your kids with YouTube and stuff like that, but don't get it too out of control. Like you still gotta spend time with them
Right,
at the
of
end of the
course. I
Yeah,
day.
of
mean,
course,
choice.
because
Yeah,
they
yeah,
need
yeah.
their
You gotta know
downtime.
what they're doing on it. So if something bad happens on YouTube, you should be aware of what they're going on. Like, oh, you use YouTube like this, not like use it. I'm gonna go to work for 8 hours. Bye. It's
Right.
like not that kind of thing.
It's like educate your kid on what's okay, what's not. It's there's always ways to counteract.
Hmm. Like I know a kid. There's a kid on my block who kind of follows this life of, oh well, my parents aren't around often, so I just play video games all day.
Mhm.
And so whenever I go over, like me and my other neighbor would go and play football with him in the summer. But the last 2 or 3 years we've been going over, and he's like, hey, does he want to play football? He's like, he can't play right now. He's in the basement playing video games. I'm like, so he can, he just won't. That's
Mhm.
all you had to say, you know. It's just
Right.
sad to see how people become so absorbed into video games
Y-
sometimes.
Yeah, but off of
Yeah, that is pretty sad.
Mhm. But off of the whole like video game being absorbed in, we can like continue that.
Hmm.
But like off of besides that, I'd also have to say like for example, kind of bringing back Fortnite. But censorship can also kind of be bad in a way for different reasons that it's not actually showing you like reality because like for example Fortnite,
Hmm.
it's like super it's got like the kid tone to it, but in reality you are shooting people. So like if you don't realize like the mistakes that you could make in real life as a kid, like you're playing Fortnite as a kid and you're just shooting people, and as you guys said, they respawn, so they don't actually realize the mistakes that they're making, or like if they were to do it in real life.
Or the fact that they're killing
Yeah,
somebody.
so they'd think in real life if they killed someone, it would just be like, oh, they'll just
Right.
respawn or something. It's not like that
Well,
bad.
first of all, how old are these kids playing
No,
Fortnite?
yeah, I'm
If I'm
taking
6
it.
years old,
No,
I know
yeah,
the
'cause,
concept of death at that
No,
point. I know
I'm
the
taking
concept
it
of
to an
death. You die,
extreme point.
that's it. You're done.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
Like,
they don't realize the regret in, I guess, shooting someone. Like they think if I hate
Well,
someone,
to be
they
fair,
could just, yeah.
yeah, and to be fair, like, a kid, if they play it enough and they're constantly playing this video game and they're not doing anything else with their life because their parents aren't around often and they're so absorbed in this video game, they they may start to think because they're so young and don't have a concept of how life works that, shooting
They're
people isn't bad because they'll just come back in another game. It's like, no, that's not how it
no.
works.
Well, yeah,
they're
either.
This
at
is
the
don't.
end
why,
of the day,
you got to keep an eye on how often your kids are playing the video game and how
I feel like
absorbed
I
they're
don't have
getting into
too
it.
much of a say on that because I started playing video games like more regularly. Like this may sound weird, like 13 to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
I mean, at
Yeah.
that point, I'm totally comfortable with the concept of death.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware if you die, that's it. You're not gonna think of anything after that.
Oof.
You're not gonna ponder your mistakes after that. You're gonna be dead. Like
Yeah,
that's
but
it.
that's
But like if a 6-year-old is playing that, I
I mean,
mean,
there's
and then
something
again, I was aware of the concept of death as well. But I mean, if some people playing the games too much, possibly, I don't know. For me, I feel like that's almost impossible, but the world has surprised me many times.
I
Yeah.
mean, listen, here's the reality. At the end of the day, no matter how nice the developers are, no matter how good a game is, you got to remember that a game is a product. It's supposed to be sold to you. You're supposed to enjoy this product and obviously like get your money's worth, right? But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you got to keep in mind that a video game is still a product that is being sold to you like tobacco or drugs. I'm not saying it's
Hmm.
as drastic as that, but what I'm saying is the whole point of games are for developers to profit and for you to get a product you enjoy.
yeah.
So You got to remember
So
that.
they're obviously going to make it to be more fun for
Mhm.
you and to be more a little
Right, they're
bit
gonna
more
try and keep
addicting, so that
you.
you'll want to buy more and you want to buy
Right, they're gonna
all
want to
these
reward
different
you. They're
parts.
gonna want to like make you experience different emotions.
Mhm.
Really keep you into the game.
Yeah.
And the in-game purchases like V-Bucks and skins and stuff. All
Yeah.
these things are what is how the developers are also making their money. But that doesn't really have much to do with our main topic.
Yeah.
So going back to like censorship and stuff, to what limit do you think, at least in terms of like things for kids, what is the limit for censorship? I know we kind of talked a little bit about it, but where do
I
we
mean,
stop the censorship?
I do know that when I don't know if you guys were like me when I was a kid, but like I used to watch shows and some of the time they would hint towards like darker jokes that we didn't realize
Hmm.
as kids. Looking back now, yeah, it's pretty obvious, but
Yeah, even
I
in
feel
shows like SpongeBob, there's like so many jokes that are like so inappropriate for like a kid to understand that now that I look back at it, I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah,
that's a
Yeah.
freaking that's a
that's exactly
sexual
what I was.
reference right there, and that's in a kids show.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That's what
I
I really
can I
wanted
can
to.
definitely
And that's
relate
that's
because
for
I've
like,
been
adults watching with their kids. They're kind of be like, oh, that's pretty funny.
of course they're
Like
not
Yeah,
gonna
the
say the
adults will
joke
get
to the
something out of
kid,
it.
It's like
but
I feel like in terms of censorship, it's like sometimes like obviously I feel kids shouldn't be looking at like death or like sex, whatever it
Hmm.
is. But I feel like
Yeah.
there's just a point where it's like like adult jokes. It's just me as a kid. I just never got those. Like he said, I just never
Well, that's the
understood those,
point,
and I
kind
kind
of.
of just
Yeah.
brushed
I
past them.
mean no one really
So
gets it when you're a kid.
I don't see an issue with them being there. Like really, I don't think kids are
Hmm.
ever gonna understand it.
Hmm.
And the thing is too, because I'm pretty sure that the developers know that the parents are going to be kind of sort of watching the show with their kids to make sure the kids don't, see anything they're not supposed to. And so they kind of put a little bit of stuff into these kids shows for the adults to find funny too, but that will fly right over the kids' heads so that they don't learn anything inappropriate from it.
but I
Which
do
I
feel
can
like
like going back to what Nolan you were saying about like kid shows now like when you're watching it like SpongeBob. Like I can say like recently I've been watching Gravity Falls. I used to watch that so many times when I was like early elementary school, and now the jokes they make it's not more sexual jokes. Like I know SpongeBob actually has a lot of sexual jokes in it
Hmm.
and references, but Gravity Falls, boy, that like I understand so much more than I did like when I was watching it for the first times. And
Yeah.
I feel like they can easily hide it as well in those shows because the kids like, oh, the nice looking colors, bright colors, and like the humor in it, like, oh, monsters, like mystery, whatever.
Yeah,
Like
it's mainly
they're
targeted to
pretty much
kids, but they can
pacified with
sneak some
that.
stuff in.
And that's what makes the creators put those jokes in because they know the kids aren't gonna see it or like even reference it.
Yeah.
yeah, but I just wanted to like say that there's a lot of stuff like looking at all media now. There's some stuff that like jokes you would hear as a kid that you don't hear anymore. But I want to ask you guys like each individually, what's like the thing you hear most that it is censored, but in reality it shouldn't be at all,
Mm.
Hmm.
Hmm.
if that makes
Probably
sense.
to
I
me,
feel
a lot of the things that get censored that not necessarily shouldn't be, or that shouldn't necessarily be censored, are a lot of
Yeah,
like comedy. Comedy's often really censored now, like things like
mhm.
yeah,
Family Guy,
Yeah.
Kevin Hart. A lot of these big, The Simpsons even, is getting censored, whether it's a racial thing or a homosexual like LGBTQ kind of thing, whether they make a joke that isn't necessarily appropriate for like kids to hear, but maybe adults, it's better they can hear it and kind of understand. It's just a joke. He's trying to get some laughs out of people.
Right, because I feel at the end of the day, like it's just like all these jokes that like slightly go off the wholesome trajectory. I feel like they're not really aimed at like trying to deter somebody, put them down. It's really just a joke. It's not something with ill intentions that you put out there to obviously
Right.
offend somebody, right? That's not no anyone's intention with comedy.
Ye-
Uh, I want to bring up another point of censorship. So this is gonna sound a little counter like intuitive, but I feel that something that shouldn't be censored is maybe like some forms of light violence. Like I feel like sometimes there's shows that just over censor things in terms of violence, and it kind of takes away from the whole show. Like I'll give you an example. Like for example, 4Kids when they took over Yu-Gi-Oh, there was a scene where one of the characters was like I think he was in a room, right? He was hacking a database or whatever, and these two guys come in, pointing guns at him, right? And the guy jumps out of the window to get away from them.
Mhm.
In the 4Kids, it's censored to where the guys are pointing his fingers at him, and it just makes no sense when you see the obviously the character like jump out of the window because they were pointing his fingers at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt like that was a little ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the gun point, I understand, like guns, you probably shouldn't show them to kids, but I mean, like, there are just other like things that are just like it's the violence is way too light to really put a censor on it. It's like I'm pretty sure everybody understands what actually happened, right?
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Mhm.
But yeah, there is a lot of stuff that those are just a few examples of stuff that probably shouldn't be censored just because not only because that it's unnecessary and that it's appropriate for adults, but in context it doesn't make sense.
But I feel like
And
that most kids, when they see this, kind of goes back to like kids watching cartoons. The kids watch cartoons; they're more drawn to like the colors, the animation, and what I really think that is actually important and sort of an issue is that kids are drawn to some because there's definitely some cartoons that aren't made for kids,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Like
oh yeah,
Family
yeah,
Guy,
there's
South
tons of them.
Park. Yeah, and the thing is about those cartoons is kids are used to cartoons. And if they
Mhm.
see randomly like Family Guy, they're gonna continue watching because it looks like a regular cartoon to them,
Mhm.
right? Like
Right.
any sort of
Yeah.
SpongeBob or regular show, Adventure Time. It looks like it, but the language is so much different. The jokes are they don't even fly over the heads. They straight out say the joke right there.
Yeah, but then at that
Mm.
point, it's up to the parents to start, saying, you can't be watching this. If I catch you watching it again, I'm going to take away your TV privileges, stuff like that. You know, the companies that make these shows shouldn't have to censor their own show just because
A
a
kid
few
got
parents don't know how to tell their kids, no, you
Yeah,
can't
which is
watch
I feel
this.
like is so it's so almost biased. Like they're taking away like they could really make this easier for themselves. They could just it's like they're as in like Family Guy, if they don't censor it, they'll lose money. And they need to make the money. And it's like why go and censor the show when you can just have make it a norm for the parents to put their work in and actually tell their kids don't watch the show, stay towards this or don't get into that and stay over in this area of uh TV or whatever. I feel like the parents don't sometimes don't pay enough attention to their kids and
right.
what they watch, and they're too
Yeah, and
At
lenient.
on
the end of the day, the blame kind of just falls on the parents. It's not really the show's fault. The show has obviously gone through all this trouble and all these regulations to obviously like go to show you, hey, this show is not meant for kids. So I feel the blame does fall a bit under the parents of just not looking out.
Well,
yeah,
I feel like the problem with that, there's just a small possibility that the children will give the parents will give the child the warning, and then as soon as the parents are gone, the child
They're
will
going
easily
to
find a way.
well, that's when you take away their TV privileges and stuff like that. They need to
But then
learn.
the child just
You're
never says, and they'll never know.
Yeah,
the
they'll
the
never
child
understand.
what?
They should be frustrated at the parents for taking it away. I mean, I
No, the
feel like
child just does it, and then that's
some,
it. They never tell their
yeah,
parents that they watched it,
Mhm.
and that's it.
yeah, I feel like to some extent, like some inappropriate material, like I don't know why, but usually it's like when a kid discovers like inappropriate material, whatever sort it is, it usually just doesn't make an impression to the kid right away. It's kind of like the kid's like,
Hmm.
"Ooh, what's this?" And it's just more like a sort of curiosity. It's not really like a as to
Like, what
oppose
did I
like
just watch,
to
kind of a thing.
watch it, like, forbid it because
Yeah,
like the truth is when you forbid something, obviously it's human psychology to do it, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
when the kid views it after you've warned them, they're probably gonna be like they're gonna get even more curious and actually look it up and see what it means. You know what I mean? It's just gonna lead to
Yeah,
a change worse for events.
It's a human nature when someone says don't watch this or don't go to that section or something. Like it's human nature to
don't go to
want
the
to
back
go
of a
towards it
Spencer
then. Like
store
they're
or a
drawn
Hot
to it even
Topic.
more than they originally were. And I feel like they can watch it, but they just have to know when to put the cap on it. Like don't say those jokes to people or something like that.
Right.
Or
You gotta
don't
warn
take
them.
this show to the public or something. Like just keep it to yourself.
Well, that's when you got to know, like, with like when you said with the jokes and stuff, you kind of got to know your environment before you say anything. 'Cause in certain groups, making like offensive jokes is kind of, it gets everyone to laugh, and if it gets everyone to laugh, no, I don't see a problem with it. If you make an offensive, let's say, homosexual joke, and the person, you might have a gay guy in your group, and he thinks it's funny too. Well, then what's the problem? No harm, no foul. The gay guy thinks it's funny too.
Yeah,
He can take a joke. That's
but
that's what makes comedy such a great thing. If everyone can get behind it, everyone can get behind, being able to take a joke and being able to learn from these kinds of jokes. You can see where a, median can be drawn, and people can learn how to, um, overstep prejudices, and or not overstep, but overcome prejudices through like comedy. Because it's funny. Everybody can get behind something that's funny,
yeah.
and if
Yeah,
everybody is doing their
But
effort to get behind it, it shouldn't be a problem for everyone to
Ye-
learn from it.
yeah, but
but I remember before when you were talking, this was in our cancel culture video, and if you haven't seen the cancel culture video, click in the top right corner
Oh
now.
no,
my
Go
not
watch it.
God.
But as I was saying, like you said
Shameless
before,
plug.
that comedy is subjective. Not
Mhm.
everyone's gonna find it funny. But I feel like the most important thing, if you don't like it, stay away from it. Why are you
Exactly.
going towards it?
yeah,
Like why
Don't
why
ruin it for
ruin
everyone
other
else.
people's fun? If they're keeping it to their own group of people that find it funny, who are you to go over there and tell them not to watch it or not to laugh at
Hmm.
it, not to joke about it?
yeah.
And like again, the example with Family Guy would be, they've had to start censoring a lot of their homophobic jokes. Um, the problem with that is I feel like that'll make homophobia even more spread out. It was spread out more, because then people are gonna see this happening, and they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
really,
People,
homosexual people can't take a joke. They can't handle, someone saying something funny in a Family Guy episode. Well, then I'm not gonna get behind them if they can't take a joke. What am I doing trying to support them? No,
right. They're gonna
no,
start
people
to
are gonna
build up
say that.
a sort of a
That's
resent. Yeah,
why
like the
that's why
hatred.
censorship's so dangerous.
Well, I get the
Yeah.
fact.
Also,
Oh wait, sorry if you.
you go ahead.
All
You go
right.
ahead. It's a bit
Well,
off
I
topic.
get the fact how you're saying like if everyone can come to an agreement, like jokes are just jokes, and if everyone can just laugh with each other. But like this is a biased world. You said originally that like in an unbiased, perfect world, like people can all get along and say these jokes, but like this isn't a perfect world. Clearly, people are gonna get
Well, of
offended.
course, not everybody's gonna get behind it,
Yeah,
but
but
those can be the stick up the ass people who don't have any fun in life. Screw
yeah, but
them.
it's
Let
easy
them
to
be the
make
way
fun
they
of other
are.
people when they're not you. You know.
Dude, I make
Yeah.
fun of myself all the time. I'm pretty sure I
Yeah,
can
if you
Well,
take
it's
make
jokes
fun
also
of
about.
easy to
yourself,
make
then
fun
Yeah, I
of
that's
can
fine.
support
yourself.
that
Yeah.
statement, Nolan.
No. Yeah, but
If you don't make fun of yourself, then I guess bully yourself a
well,
little harder.
bullying yourself is not the same as other people bullying you because
Well,
you
but
can make
you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Let's not get that confused.
yeah.
Let's not say that's
Like
the same.
I don't know, if you're bullying someone else and you're saying it's fun because everyone else likes it, including the other people who usually get bullied, but they're not getting bullied specifically by you. And you're bullying this other kid and he's pretending like he's having fun, but he's really not because like he's just getting picked
well, then
on.
he needs to say something. And if the
Well, I
bully,
mean, what do you think other
if he
people are
says
doing
something
with
and the
these
bully
offensive
continues,
jokes?
what?
What do you think other people are doing with these offensive jokes? They're saying something about it.
Well, that's just the point of when you
And
make
you're
an
saying
offensive
no,
joke,
but then
don't take
just
the
don't
wrong
watch
person.
it. It's hard not to watch it when it's public and everyone else makes those same jokes all the time.
Well, it
Joe,
depends on who you're saying the
I
joke
see what you're
to as
saying,
well.
but it's different because, hold on, sorry, I'm doing something right now. So
But
what
who
you're
are you
saying
giving
is
a joke
like,
to?
uh, so what you're saying is that when you're bullying somebody and the kid who's getting bullied doesn't necessarily like it, but when he says something about it, he's trying to take away the fun.
Mhm.
That's not necessarily true. If it's like genuinely inciting violence, and people are actually going out and hurting people after hearing stuff, that
That's
needs
when
to
you
be
censor
censored.
it.
That is where you draw the line. That's where everything's illegal. That's where that's illegal. However, comedy doesn't incite violence. It can reference it, but it doesn't incite it. Because like
Right.
if
They're
you're
not
telling
trying to
people,
support it either. It's just it's a harmless joke.
like
It's
if
what
you're
they start. It's what the people do that make it not harmless.
Well,
It's the
yeah,
people that take those
like if
jokes
people
and
are
say it to the wrong audience, sort of thing.
mhm.
They take those jokes and say it to the wrong
Yeah,
people.
yeah. If you
Not the
directly
person to
say it to
person.
someone else, like,
I mean, like if majority of all demographics can get behind it, then I don't see any problem with it.
I kind of want to alter that. It's not just a majority. I feel like it could be a minority you're making the joke. You're saying the joke to that could offend a majority. You can say
Right,
that because you can offend a majority of people.
right.
It's
And
sort of like
people get this
racist. You
idea
can
in
be
their head.
racist to white people as well, even though they are a
Right,
majority.
people get this idea that well, we can make fun of racist people because not many people like them. We can make fun of homophobic people because not many people like them. People get these ideas in their heads that making fun of the majority is okay, but the second you make fun of the minority, you're doing something offensive. So there's kind of this double standard.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
It's like,
people almost don't
There's with
understand that you
the
can be
psychology of
offensive
that.
to a majority of people.
There's
It's
a
just
mhm,
not as common.
there's a I don't think a lot of people get it, but there's a explained psychology behind offensive jokes. The truth is, the reason I'll give you an example. So let's say somebody makes a Holocaust joke. That's messed up, right? I think we can all agree that at first we'd say, yo, that's messed up. But the truth is, the concept of the joke isn't to make fun or belittle the people that were harmed here. The joke explained in psychology is actually meant to like belittle the people who were the offenders. You know, like for example, the Nazis. Like the whole point of the joke is to be like, wow, we were so like stupid and scummy as humans to the point where we straight up gassed and like killed innocent people. That's just the joke. You're just poking at the like just almost the irony of how low we got as humans. Like that's the objective of the joke. It's not meant to be like, ha, look at the Jews. They got killed, right?
I feel like that's a little hard to get
yeah, it's
behind.
hard to explain.
Yeah, I
no, no,
understand
no.
it
I
is,
think I
but
get it in a way. Like
Like
they're
I get what you're
I
belittling.
saying,
get
but I
it.
feel
Yeah.
like it
I
can be
get it, but
taken the
it's
wrong
hard to
way.
like. It's
also
hard
at the
to
end
like
of the day,
explain to like
it's not,
people
yeah,
who.
it's not something easy to grasp. I
Yeah.
understand that, but that was
That's all I'm
the
saying.
psychological explanation I heard. Like that's the objective of the joke. It's not
Mhm.
meant to be used in like a way to where you're trying to deter the other person, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just me.
Yeah.
Continue.
So we talked a
Like,
lot about censoring comedy, guys, but what about censoring politics? What do you guys think about that?
I was actually gonna have on that topic actually. So another scary part of comedy, whether it's pertaining to politics, video games, whatever, any piece of media or person, the scary part is when censorship falls into the wrong hands. For example, you got like these like religious cartoons, or even a more extreme example such as propaganda, so to speak. It's like then propaganda can really fall into the wrong hands there. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like that's
And then,
something I feel is
like, especially when the government has the entire control over the
has
censorship, like
control.
places like North Korea, China, Russia, even in a lot of Central American countries like Venezuela, the government has all this control over, people can only look at this. Like in Tiananmen Square, or sorry, in China, you cannot look up the Tiananmen Square massacre, and even if you do, your computer is completely shut down. And if you don't know what the Tiananmen Square massacre is, it was a massive protest held by the people of China, and the government went in and completely shut it down, and a bunch of the protesters were killed, and a man was run over by a tank by China, or I think that's what it was, the Tank Man story, or
Yeah,
something
no,
like
the
that.
tank man he just stood in front of tanks. He wasn't actually ran over by
Oh, he
them.
wasn't run
no.
over. Okay, that's
Yeah.
my bad. But even so, you can't you that doesn't exist in China. In North Korea, they think they won the war, the Korean War. To be honest, nobody won the war. The war was ended neutrally
Mm.
because
Yeah,
no one could, continue the fighting. No one wanted to continue it. In North Korea, they think the people in North America or in the USA, they think we eat babies, and they think we were,
Yeah, Korean
coming into
propaganda.
Korea to eat their babies, and the propaganda is just so dangerous there. You know, they think Kim Jong Un's immortal. They think he's all powerful. It's unbelievably scary how dangerous censorship can be
Yeah, and
under the wrong
that's a
hands.
matter of like, well, what you're saying is more communist countries, dictatorship, which is the
Hmm.
one of the biggest reasons. Well, one of the biggest, you could say, I don't know how to put this, like biggest ways you can see censorship happen, sort of thing. It's usually dictatorship, but it does happen. Like censorship happens in America as well.
Yeah,
Like,
no, for sure.
like,
You see
like
all
easily,
censorship everywhere.
it's yeah, but some people don't see it, which
Like
is the thing.
especially
That's the
on things
point of
like
censorship. If you
Twitter,
don't see it, then it's
YouTube.
working.
Speaking of censorship on YouTube, we had a video posted on the Capitol riot that occurred a month ago. That video got taken down for what they claimed was um, Danny, what was it
Scam,
called?
spam, and
Scams and
deceptive practices.
yeah, deceitful
Yeah, but
practice,
I don't
something
want
like
to
that.
really get
Sorry,
too
but
deep into this.
we didn't say anything that had any regards to anything um, that was false. You know, we weren't making false statements. I remember one statement I made that could have been, but is very unlikely to have been the reason it was taken down, is I had said that I believed that the people who were rioting in the Capitol had genuinely believed. I thought that they genuinely believed that the election was stolen. I thought that's what they genuinely thought, and that's what I said. That's the only time we ever said anything that had anything to do with, you know, the election being stolen. And even then, I said that's what they believed. I didn't say it was fact. I said they believed that.
And it was mostly the
Yeah,
video for people who haven't seen it. It was mostly a compare and contrast of the Black Lives
Between
Matter movement riots and the Capitol. It was mostly comprised
yeah,
of those.
and the video got taken
And it
down.
didn't
We were
really say
given
like
no specific
some of that as
explanation
well.
behind it.
but yeah, I think that's where I have nothing else, no more ideas to share. Do you guys have any more ideas you want to share?
I don't really, but I just wanna. So my point that I tried to make a while ago about the whole Fortnite thing, that was kind of shit. So I'm gonna try and clear it up a little bit about like
All right.
safety of censorship before we like stop it. I just want to say like I want to give a better example of like if you watch a movie and like someone smokes because they're super cool, like for example like this one cowboy person, he's like smoking. You don't really know the consequences. So like what I want to say to kind of wrap things up, unless if you guys want to disagree, you got to if you're not going to censor something that should be censored to little kids, you should put the consequences so they know what will happen to them if they were to do it. Like or the chances of what things could happen to them.
Well, that's why things like smoking and stuff aren't usually allowed in kids' um, movies and stuff. And if it is, you know, these movies are rated PG or PG
Yeah, yeah.
13. You know, and so that the parents have to be watching them if they go to see this movie,
Mhm.
so that they can explain to the kids that what they're doing is not safe,
Yeah.
or you know they're destroying their bodies by doing this and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that pretty much wraps it up for this podcast.
All right, thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much, and do us a favor, hit the like button, subscribe.
We're on the
Um,
road to 50 subs. Can we get it to 50 subs?
if we get 50 subs, I will give all of you 50 high fives.
Whoa,
That's not
that's an
gonna
offer you
happen,
want.
but
Social
That's an offer you
distancing.
want.
Keep your social distancing. That was a trick question.
It only turns out
in
that
spirit, I'll
25%
give you all
of you
50 high
subscribe.
fives.